welcome. Of course, it's a great privilege and honor to be sitting here today with you, Damien. How did you like Canada? Coming to Canada, I know your first time in Canada giving a seminar, first time in our capital, in Canada's capital. Any big surprises, kind of what you thought, a little sleepy, a little excited? How did it make you feel? And did your family enjoy it as well?
To be honest, I think it's been amazing. Like for me, Canada is picturing countryside, mountains,
Right,
and obviously I've kind of seen all of that. It's very relaxed over here. The scenery is stunning. Everyone's been brilliant who we've met. It's definitely a place I'd like to come back and revisit. I thought it's fantastic.
Of course, we'd love to have you again. and thank you, Damien. Appreciate your time today. Damien, could you just tell us briefly a little bit about yourself, like your accomplishments, what got you, not what got you into Muay Thai, but definitely your accomplishments, some of your titles, your training background?
I started training in 1994. I'd have been about 14 at the time.
Nice.
I kind of started off as a junior, so I found out with shin pads, head guard, and as I progressed through the ranks from there, I kind of won the Midland area title, which is kind of like my area. Then I won the English title, and then schoolboy British title. Then I moved to the adult ranks. So I was 16 when I started fighting adults. Again, after about a year from there, I'd won an English title as an adult, and a British title. Then I started fighting internationally at 17, and then I won my first European title. I think I was 21. I think I've been 21 when I won the first European title. Then I won a couple more from there. From then on, I went to live in Thailand for a while. I won the Hong Kong Championship from Thailand. So I was from Thailand, I flew to Hong Kong. I fought, won a championship there. Went back, carried on fighting for a bit. Then I went back to the UK, and then from there in the UK, I won 2 world titles and a 4th European title.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I guess kind of follow up, maybe take us back a little bit. What got you interested in Muay Thai for the first place? Because you started as a very young man. Was there some kind of point of inspiration that really connected to you, kind of brought you to the sport, or something that attracted you to or the Muay Thai community, I suppose?
To be honest, I've kind of always been interested in martial arts. I'd watch like goofy martial art films when I was a bit younger.
Blood sport?
Yeah, that's one
that was mine too.
But literally the gym was probably 300 metres away from my school. Okay. A couple of my classmates started training, asked if I wanted to come along, went along, and then kind of like the rest is history. Like there's no real amazing story or anything, just literally the gym was very close to my school and I'd pass it every day.
What do you think the future of Muay Thai is?
You have to elaborate on that question.
In the sense that it's come from almost, I mean, I know my first experience was literally watching Bloodsport with Van Damme when he fights Paco. But since then, it's just grown. It's just grown, and people have an awareness of it they didn't have even 5 years ago. It keeps on expanding. What do you think is next for Muay Thai?
Just quite recently, it's been kind of recognised by the Olympics. It's not in the Olympics yet, but obviously they're looking at it under consideration. If it gets into the Olympics from now, I think it's going to explode, because obviously people then can train, and there's a goal where they can obviously represent their country on like a worldwide stage. I think if it doesn't get into the Olympics, without being horrible, I think it's probably going to stay kind of like where it is as like a niche sport. But then like the things like the MMA, like the UFC and stuff, they're going to be still attracted to Muay Thai, because obviously that's the most effective striking art from there. But I think as promotions, I think it will stay where it is unless it does actually get recognised by the Olympics.
Nice. Muay Thai is a global community, as we were just speaking about. How does training in Thailand, say, differ from training in the UK and now being with us here in Canada?
To be honest, I haven't seen how a class is structured here, but I'm going to guess it's very similar to lots of the UK. So obviously like back home, I'd probably do a quick warm-up, then you'd probably shadow box, then you'd hit pads, like a technique hit pads, then you'd probably spar and maybe clinch. It's exactly the same in Thailand, but it's just a lot longer. Like your quick warm-up is a 5-mile run. Then you'll come in, then you'll shadow box, which could be like 5 rounds or so, 3 to 5 rounds. Then you'll do pads. The only difference with Thailand is a lot of it is one-on-one. To where like your pad holder is your trainer, while you're on the pads, the rest of the people that are on the class will be on the bag. Then what you do, you kind of swap over once you've done your like transition from there, and obviously then you'd start clinching. But again, their clinching is 20 to 45 minutes every day, so obviously it's just constantly going from there. When I was there, they'd probably only spar maybe 3 times a week. Okay. And obviously it's a spar, but clinching was every day. Right. So everything's very similar, but it's just longer, but it's more one-on-one in Thailand. But in the West, it just can't work, because obviously people don't come to train to make a living from competing. Right. But in Thailand they do.
Why do you think that, in my experience, I guess all the best people I've met in gyms and in the martial arts, whereas maybe people outside of the sport think it's for, brawlers and kind of tough guys, but when you get into it, how do you think Muay Thai develops people, and what do you think attracts
I think when you look at
to the sport?
I think when you look at most combat sports, Muay Thai is probably one of the most respectful, because when you obviously look at boxing, there's a lot of trash talking. Obviously, that's the kind of sell the tickets. Sounds like the MMA now, it's a lot of trash talk, a lot of bravado. So obviously, Muay Thai, it's because I think because of where it comes, like the heritage comes from Thailand. There is a lot more respect involved. There isn't any like bad mouthing of each other. They're kind of you're in the same position as the other person. So obviously, it's not about trying to make yourself above them. If that makes sense. Obviously, you want to.
It does.
Outdo them in the fight, but it's not about trying to make yourself feel bigger and better than what they are. I think as well, because with a lot of the shows, a lot of it comes from friends and families, ticket sales. So obviously it's not about trying to get more and more and more people to come and just watch the fight, because obviously most of the time they've just like I said, they've sold it to their people in the gym, their friends, family, and everything that way. So I think I'm waffling on a bit now, but
I love it.
Yeah, but I think it's just like I can't comment on people that do jiu-jitsu tournaments or the wrestling stuff, but I'm going to assume that they're very respectful as well because of where they've come from and how it's not in the public eye as much. I think because of the other combat sports are in the public eye, that's why there's a lot of trash talking going on.
It makes a lot of sense to me. A related point, what do you think Muay Thai has to teach for younger people kind of coming up looking for themselves?
For myself, when I went to live in Thailand, I was very much on my own. I didn't have any friends. I had acquaintances, and obviously most of them were Thai. Being on my own, or being on your own, makes you think quite a lot. And obviously, I kind of like look back on my career at that time, and probably the smallest thing that I got from learning Muay Thai is actually learning how to punch and kick and knee.
I would agree.
Everything else is obviously like vastly important. Obviously, like your confidence, your goal setting, just being able to be around like different people. I think it's obviously it's a big skill set to have that you can take in other areas of your life where you might have a driving test or you might have an exam coming up, and obviously the same skills that you kind of get from your training, not just in Muay Thai but in any martial art, you can like transition into other aspects.
I totally agree. What advice would you give to new people kind of coming up in sport? People, either maybe an existing athlete looking to compete in time, or someone more like the majority of us looking for that real kind of confidence and community, the chance to kind of shine and really come into themselves. What advice would you give to some new people coming into the sport?
Obviously, the obvious one is obviously make sure you train hard, but obviously it's about belief and intent. Okay, so obviously you have to kind of intend to do what you're going to do, and obviously you've got to believe in yourself in doing it as well. If you start kind of second guessing, then you're not going to be able to progress, and obviously that slight doubt will probably like hold you back. So you have to, like I say, you have to go at it 100%. So that's what you're going to go for. Don't go half-hearted. It's a painful sport. If you go at it half-hearted, so obviously you're going to have to give it your all.
And what advice would you give to kind of new amateur fighters, maybe someone taking their first fight, to kind of address that little voice of doubt, and how do you deal with that?
Like for me, because I've competed so much, is obviously if I was to do it now, I'd still get the same doubts now. But as I come in, I just kind of know that's not going to happen. This is what's going to, I just kind of like shut it out and try and obviously think positive. Because what you have to think is, say if you look at your brain, your mind likes you, wants to protect you, so it gives you these doubts because obviously it doesn't want you to be put into that situation. Does that make sense? So obviously trying to like hold you back. So obviously it's just your mind trying to protect you. But obviously you'll be fine. You know you'll be fine because you've been training hard. You know you're strong. You know you're fit. So you just got to tell that little voice, no, don't worry, that's not going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Obviously, then just kind of focus on the positives. And like when you do fight, try and visualize any aspect that you're going to get into, and visualize getting out of that scenario. So if you might think, oh, what if I get caught in a clinch? It doesn't matter because I can do this. Or if I get stuck on the ropes, it doesn't matter, I can do it. You know, like just literally just.
So you can kind of go through maybe your worst case scenarios, understanding they're not worst case scenarios. You've actually trained for this. You actually have answers to that. So would your mental preparation kind of equal your physical preparation?
Just as much fighting, if you think of it, is probably 90% mental and 10% physical. Because obviously your body has to do what your brain tells it to. Right. So if you start second guessing yourself, and that person, your opponent, isn't, then it's going to be a tough night for you.
I know you took a lot of chances to become a professional fighter. There's no guarantees, and you always have to advance that forward. What advice would you give to somebody maybe struggling with their dream, maybe having a hard time, maybe thinking to quit? What advice would you give just to push a little harder, take it a little further?
So like, from my own experience, where obviously I was already kind of like well accomplished. I'd fought for a world title in 2007, but I'd lost. Mm-hmm. If I'd have won that title, I probably would have retired at that point.
Wow, isn't that amazing?
But from there, because I didn't win it, I took some time out and then I come back, and my career's been kind of split into 3 stages. So that third stage, probably the best stage of my career. So if you just if you quit, you don't know what you're missing out on.
Right.
So if you've got other people that are believing in you and telling you no, you should carry on, they obviously they want the best for you, and they can see that you've got something. So I think just persevere and get through. Life isn't easy, so you might as well just try and roll the punches.
I agree with that.